Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Nerdy Old Men Podcast. This is your favorite bald-headed man, Chad, and my head is so big you might confuse me with an actual Funko Pop. And today we are with good old Redneck Wes.
Yeehaw, yeah, we're here at Tall Man Comics and Collectibles, downtown Knoxville. We're a buddy of mine, Mike Herman. And Mike, thanks for being on the show today, and just tell us a little bit about all this awesomeness you got here at Tall Man.
Oh man, well thanks for coming. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. So a lot of you guys may know us. We do a lot of conventions and so forth, and we started off as a, little itty bitty. I actually just had like a rack at a.
It was like the rack and the table, and it's like
one rack at a comic book store, and we grew that to a couple different comic book stores. Then we grew it into our small little store, and now we're in the Chocolate Factory in Knoxville, which is like probably one of the two most, historic, prestigious buildings in Knoxville. And I always say, in the Knoxville community, if one of us does well, then we all do well. And I'm just like, holy cow, to have a comic book store in this building really says a lot about the collectability of stuff in Knoxville. It's a great place for collectors to come. So,
oh, it's a beautiful building.
Holy cow, yeah.
It's easy to find because there's this giant sun sphere, this giant golden ball on a stick right across the street.
Yeah, and and on the way down here, because we always like to do a little video tour of the inside of stores, especially for people that are from the outside the area that might want to come here so they can kind of visualize it. So we shot a little video on the drive down here, and it's very picturesque coming down into downtown Knoxville through the tunnel that says Knoxville, and boom, you come out and there's the sun sphere, and Mike's store is right here, right beside it, in a really cool area right beside the campus.
Oh, yeah.
So, Mike, you're into this kind of stuff, or you wouldn't open a store like this, even though it is good business.
Yeah.
So, tell us how you got into this type of genre of stuff, comics and collectibles and things like that.
So
personally,
like around when this is showing my age, but when eBay started, I was like, wait, I can just go on eBay and buy lots of toys that I want, like old vintage stuff, because that's really my favorite thing is the vintage toys. And then so I would just part stuff back together and sell it on eBay, and it was a great side gig. So I've got a retail consumer science degree, and I used to be a Kroger manager for a long time. Which I love that. And then our second child was born, and my wife's like, one of us has to quit our jobs. And my hand went up real fast. And
I can get out of retail. Wait a minute, I'm going to jump back into retail.
Yeah, so, the intent was, I'd go back to work after, he got into daycare. And so, but then I was like, oh, wait, I have this slightly different path I think I can take. And we've done so many conventions, and I just saw, there's a lot of great people who do conventions, but there's, some people who are not very customer service oriented. So we saw a major opportunity for us to, grow our brand and go, head on into that, because, with the big difference between us and other people at shows, it's like most convention guys are like, oh, your kids can look, but they can't touch. And they're very guarded about their merchandise. And we're like, hey guys, what are you looking for? Oh, cool shirt, cool,
Yeah.
And that's just us. We're just, we're all kids at heart. So it's just basically like, hey, this is a kid's first experience here. And that's really where we got the name of the store, Tall Men Toys and Comics, because the kids would call us the Tall Man. Hey, the Tall Man's here. The Tall Man's here. And so, they'll run past other vendors that get to us because we take that extra time to ask them what they're looking for. And then parents will, say, hey, this is a good place to have your first, convention, transaction.
Right.
And so a kid will come up to us, hand this giant, some money.
Well, I can remember, like, people would be looking for something. I'm like, well, what are you looking for? Well, we're looking for the guy with the pops. I'm like, oh, Mike. Okay, he's the big, tall guy. You can't miss him. Go down there,
Yep. And so, it just, I was like, trying to figure out a name to name the store. And I was like, oh, this is what the kids call us.
I remember you telling me that at a convention. You said, well, I've got a name for the shop. And I'm like, what is it? And you're like, Tall Man. And I'm like, yep.
Well, that's the first time I ran into him, is when it was at a show, and I was like, this has got some pretty neat stuff. And then you had the other store, the smaller store, before you came here.
The craziest part is that little store, so I only rented it to keep the stuff in between Comic Cons. Right. And then the landlord was like, well, you have to be open at least 4 hours a week. What day are you going to do this? Most people do it on a consistent week. And I was like, I don't know, Saturday, 12 to 3. And so we had like 400 Facebook fans, at the time when we opened that. And so I was like, hey, we'll be open at our new store from 12 to 3. Come see it. And we were packed.
I remember you'd asked a couple
Yep.
of us to come down, and so we dressed up in character and came in, and there's a line out the door.
Well, that's
of
when we
people.
finally did the grand opening. So I was like, wait, we've really got something here. We
Yeah.
need to do like the whole traditional, like get a register, get all that. I was like, holy cow.
This thing's going.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we just hit really close to 8,000 Facebook followers the other day. So I'm like, we've really,
That's awesome.
in like less than 3 years. I mean, and then of course now I always use the Star Trek terminology. It's like we used to be in a Constellation class ship. Now we're in the Galaxy.
There you go.
So, but yeah, this thing I'm anxious for the pandemic to be over with, so we can really stretch this thing's legs and see what it can do. Because we're already doing leaps and bounds over the old store, and that's with like people not wanting to go out so much. And I'm like, and just imagine once all the events and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, when the convention.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be hard because you moved from that other location to here right in the middle of all this garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, and that takes some guts to do that. And I mean, I've been here a couple times, and every time I'm in, there's somebody in here now. Every time I'm in here, there's somebody in here, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, well, I had to call her in early because we were so packed this morning. I was like, I need some help.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
it's a good problem. Yeah,
it is. I mean, it's tis the season. At the same time, it's like I mean, we got the prettiest curbside in Knoxville. So and then of course we have kind of the major advantage over other stores with the similar stuff because majority of our stuff is on our website, so you can click and pick it up a little bit later.
Yep.
So I mean, it's like
I did that a couple weeks ago for a Mandalorian figure.
Yep.
I bought it on his website. He sent me a message, said, "Hey, it's here." I drove down here and picked it up.
Yep.
Perfect. And
okay.
I mean, you're right off the interstate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can come instead of coming straight through downtown like we did on the video. So please watch the video. But you can come straight off and drive right down in here and be that fast.
You're literally what, 20, 25 feet from the curb.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're right, you're
it's right there.
Yeah, and there's 3 spots that are 30-minute loading zones, and then there's this little U right here. You can get like 9 cars in there, just to pull in, run and grab your stuff, and it's pretty fast, and a lot of people really like it. So
yeah. I mean, you're tell us your main. I mean, obviously, if you walk in here, the main focus is Funko Pops.
Right.
You've got a ton of stuff, but kind of tell us some of the stuff that you have and that you're proud of, and where you think you're going here.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Funko Pops are it's the super hot item, and doesn't seem like it's losing steam anytime soon. At the old store, we were in the top 3 in the Southeast for largest Funko shops, which I was amazed that little closet could have that much,
Well, I mean, you had that thing packed.
We did.
I mean, it was packed with Funko Pops.
And then, so when we moved over here, we went from about the 8,000 range to about the 10,000, 11,000 range. So we passed all the big city stores like, Atlanta, Orlando. I don't know if they have anything in Miami. I never found anything like that in my research, but, so apparently we're the largest Funko shop in the Southeast, so I'm like, holy cow, that's really
you
awesome.
heard it here first, folks. if you're looking for a pop, Mike's probably
So
got
I guess the folks at Funko know who you are.
Yeah, they do. And it's been pretty nice. I mean, we've gotten several like signed stuff from Brian to support us and stuff like that. And Brian's the CEO, and so forth. My sales rep got the approval to come and see us. He was like, I got approval to come to your grand opening. I was like, no one wants to see you. It's like, no one's gonna be excited to see. Oh, you're the sales rep. You input the order.
Yeah.
It's like, get me Brian or nobody. And we're like, well, now we can't go anywhere because everything's travel's restricted.
Right.
I was like, and that's the thing. We didn't do a traditional grand opening. I mean, we're friends with both mayors here in town, and I didn't want to have a big thing, because I didn't want 3,000 people to show up on the same day, and I can only let 50 in at a time, which considering this space, and they said 50 is our max, and I'm like, okay, so we come close occasionally on the weekends, but I haven't had to be like, 48.
You start actually counting people, and I'm sorry, you're gonna have to wait a minute.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just important to be safe and so forth, and we've done a really good job. I mean, we have a lot of people that are like complimenting us and like, hey, you guys are wiping down the counter after every person, wiping down, and we spend a lot on keeping everybody safe because we really have every walk of life that comes in here. I mean,
especially with the location you're at. I mean, right beside the University of Tennessee campus, you're right beside downtown.
Yeah, we're like in the heart of the city right here.
Yeah, I mean, you're right in the middle. To get here from anywhere in the Knox County area, the metropolitan area, you're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I wanted centrally located, and I think I found it.
Yeah, I don't think you could get any more
if
centrally
you're hitting the
located
bullseye,
than this.
Mike, I believe you found it.
Man, yeah, so... But this is one of those like dream come true. I never thought in a million years I would get this spot or even get a phone call back.
Well, I mean, getting to do something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I knew you working at Pepsi, and you were one of my store managers. Yeah. That's how I got to know you, and knowing that you do like to talk to people. Yep. You do like that retail experience, that interaction with the customer. But now you get to do it on your terms with something that you enjoy doing, which toys, pops, comic books, all this cool stuff.
Store full of really cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a dream come true.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, you see the smiles that, these things put on people's faces. They're like, oh, my gosh, this is so wonderful. And so,
Well, it's hard to see with the mask now, folks.
Well, yeah.
Everybody's got the mask on in here.
Which, mind you, he's wearing a Mandalorian mask, which is awesome.
On a Friday.
And he's sitting there in his chair, and above his chair is a big He-Man, which... If anybody listens to the show, they understand my affinity for Masters of the Universe.
He may be going home with Chad. You might want to watch that. You might want to watch that, Mike.
I got a skeleton around here somewhere.
Oh, that's even better. That's even better. I like the villains. Yeah. But the store it's wall-to-wall Funko Pops. But he's also got comics in here. He's even got Golden Books?
Those Golden Books sell like crazy.
That is ridiculously cool.
If you think you remember for like when we were kids, it was like there was this puppy nobody knew about. This train.
Right.
They weren't name brand people. I mean,
I saw some He-Man, Masters of the
Star
Universe.
Wars.
Yeah.
It's like that these characters are making it all the way to the end. As opposed to these.
Yes, obviously, yeah. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen to that puppy, but
I mean, there's a reason this puppy keeps going up this hill. There's something bad
going on. But he's got those. He's got comics. He's got some games out there.
Oh my gosh.
He's got a ton of action figures, and I'm an action figure guy, but he's got a bunch of Marvel
there's
Legends guys. He's got DC guys in here, and he's got some vintage stuff over there
stuff
too.
I've not been able to find a perfect solution for it, so I just kind of have it sitting in that case. But we have like 10 times more than I have on display right now. So I've got a plan for after the holiday to kind of make it a little more vintage friendly, because that's my favorite part of it.
I love vintage stuff. As a matter of fact, you at your old store last Christmas, my brother Jay, who was on the show last week, I bought him a Batman animated series Batmobile from Mike in the box at the old store. Gave me a great deal on it.
Jay was actually talking about how cool and how much fun it was.
Yeah, because he had that as a kid, and then last time I was in here picking up my Mando from you, I found a part for Masters of the Universe guy that I've been looking for in his box over there. So
I want to get a little cart that has like all those boxes of parts on it and just wheel it out when a vintage person wants it. So
the old guys like me can dig through it, right? Yeah, I love it.
It's great. People love digging through parts, and I mean that's one of my favorite parts. I'll get a giant collection in, and I'll take all the stuff I've got, and I'll piece them all together. I mean, my office at home, I literally have it's like a bunch of built-ins, and there's one cabinet I bring out, and it's got nothing but GI Joe parts, GI Joe.
All the guns parts. And missiles, and
that's just the figure parts. All the other ones are I've got.
Yeah, how many of the little O-rings have you replaced?
A ton. I mean, I even have I've got just that little screwdriver set that like people in my family are like they want to use it. I'm like, no, I have to.
It's like you don't touch that.
This is for this.
This is the only one that works on this thing.
Yeah, I was actually at my mom's house. I got my old GI Joes, and I found those O-rings. You put the O-ring in the sucker, it's like a brand new toy. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just a brand new toy. It's ridiculous how that works like that. But all of them, and I imagine when you find some, you pick them up and they fall apart.
Yeah, or they're already in pieces.
Right, but you can put those suckers back together just like that. Yeah, you said vintage is kind of your first love of this kind of stuff. Which line is like your?
Really like GI Joe. Really like Star Wars. He-Man. I mean, it's like those are the three staples. I mean, I like Transformers too, but I don't have to ever complete Transformers for them to sell. They're just like oh, you have a broken arm? Oh, $50. Sure, thanks.
Yeah.
And then they're just like it just flies off the shelf, so I can never keep it in here. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy the Star Wars stuff, and then the Toys That Made Us. I really liked watching those things.
That's a good series.
Gives you a lot of
That's a great
background
show.
stuff, and
I like the business side of that show, where we're talking about the inner workings between the companies and how these licenses become to happen, and a guy with an MBA. To me, that's fascinating, and I really love that because it mixes those two things together, and that show is amazing.
Yeah. I really like the show Sons of Anarchy, which I'm not a biker. You know, I'm not in a gang. I don't, you know, all that stuff doesn't appeal to me.
He's in the old man toy gang.
It's the whole, like, the politics and the business behind the club. You're just, like, fascinated with. You're like, wow.
Right.
You know, so, and now I watch Yellowstone a lot because it's the same writers and stuff like that, and it's basically Sons of Anarchy on a ranch. You know.
Well, yeah, and of course The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, gosh.
Because I mean that's absolutely ridiculous.
I watched the one this morning. I was like, man, this is the greatest episode ever. I was like, holy cow.
Oh, we did this.
I was trying to, and the kids wouldn't leave me alone.
We did this morning, and I was just
I can't step
la 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 la. I'm not listening.
I can't step foot in the store without somebody already seeing it, wanting to talk about it.
So you got to jump on it quick, because it'll ruin it in the other. But that's neat. But that type of stuff is like we're all similar ages. So when we were young, that stuff wasn't as cool as it is now, I guess, because it's more mainstream now. Yeah. And I think that helps your business too, because younger people are coming into that type of stuff. Yeah, I had somebody in here today bought some Bill and Ted stuff. It was for their dad, but they were also like, I would never watch this if it weren't for him. But it's so much, I'm having this new experience with these old movies because of someone else. It's important to them. I've had a lot of people buy the original Star Wars figures because they never had them as kids, but their dad had them. Dad's gone now, and this brings them closer to them. So it's really, it's to be able to, you walk in here and there's just colorful figures everywhere, and then you can affect someone's entire being, and that's really awesome. So. But yeah, we always try to do the best customer experience because that's what we want. And we're not like pressure salesmen like, oh, well, here's this comic book. It's really hot. Are you not buying this? Do you even like comics? I'm just like, I'm like a broken record. I'm like, buy the ones you want. Don't buy the ones that somebody else is looking for. Just, if you like this one. Like, I only have 5 Pops in my personal collection. Right. And people are like, they must be the most expensive ones ever. And I'm like, no, they're the ones the characters I like, and I actually have 6 now. Sorry. So what are the characters you like?
So when somebody made a Pop of me.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's my 6th one.
With his Green Bay Packer hat on.
Love
it. It was crazy. I think little 18-year-old girl that moved here from Michigan, and this was like the first store she found, made her feel at home, and they're regulars here, and she's just like, I'm so proud that you guys moved from a small store to this big store, and I made this for you. I'm like, I've never wanted one of these, but holy crap, this is the
So she actually made that Pop for you?
Made the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So the base is an Aaron Rodgers Pop, which makes me
makes you
which
happy.
is perfect for you, right? Yeah. It's like, look at me.
But no, she took the ball and turned it into a Funko Pop. And she's like,
that's awesome.
She did the box, she did everything. It's even got the boots that I wear.
Wow.
It's crazy. I was like,
that's
wow.
awesome. That community, that sense of community is always important to people.
It's something else. I was just like, wow, I was blown away. So I was like, this is going to have to go in my personal collection. So.
Yeah, and we've kind of noticed that with talking to some of the other businesses in this genre in our area, is it is that family kind of feeling that you get from not just customers but business alike. I mean, people come in here and they feel at home. Yeah, and we kind of have that Cheers vibe going, even though. So, people who want to come in, they want to tell you some of their problems, and we sit there and talk about them. Yeah, I mean, I came in here a couple weeks ago to pick up a figure from Mike, and I walked in the door, and it was like we walked into a conversation, and I mean, just like that, and that's cool because I've hated to go to any kind of store where you felt, one, somebody's standing on your shoulders looking at you, or 2, somebody's trying to force you to buy something, and that's not fun. But you don't get that here. Come in, take a look. If you need, let me know if you need something. And hey, by the way, what do you think about this? And did you watch the newest episode? What's cool about that? Look at this guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're in it just for one reason, it's it's not the point. So. No, absolutely not.
But it goes back to that whole. This is something you enjoy.
Well,
so
but
it's not really work.
But if you remember, I also really enjoyed being manager at Kroger too. I made it fun, and I still have It's funny because I'll have a lot of people that were in management that'll come in here, and then I'll have a lot of people that were hourly employees, and they're just like, they just keep on coming because they're like, I guess I've always, looking back at my whole career, I've always, anything I've done, I've always had fun doing it, and that's the only way to really do stuff is to.
That's inspirational to me. Like this guy who's got a business with things that he loves, about things that he loves, and he really likes it. So it really is that you never go into work as long as you like what you do kind of thing. And
even though a lot of times I'll be here at like 5:30 in the morning and leave at like 7 or 10.
I'm tired.
Or like the day I was in here with the UPS guy, I was like, I don't know where your box is. I was like, oh, I need a box.
Yeah, I'm joking with my wife. I'm like, we're so busy. I'm just gonna make like a cardboard bed and just sleep here.
So you say you only got about 6 pops in your own collection. One of them is you.
Yes.
What's the other ones?
So I'm a big fan of the 4th Doctor of Doctor Who. So I have him and his robot dog. That's 2 more. Guy Gilchrist. Did I bring it? No. Guy Gilchrist drew on he drew a Muppet goat on a Aaron Rodgers pop.
Awesome.
So he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I got you.
I have the Judge Smails of the hat. Because I had to have. Normally, I do not see a pop that's released and be like, I have to have that for my personal collection, which is really hard to do because we have so many that come through here.
Right.
But that joke in Caddyshack is just so obscure, and it's so, it's like, oh, but with this, what is it? Oh, this hat's so bad, I bet you get a free bowl of soup with it. And then he looks at Judge Smails, who's wearing it, and he goes, oh, it looks good on you, though. You know what I mean? It doesn't fit with the movie, but it's almost like, I think that point in the movie is like, they thought of that joke and said, let's make a movie around this joke.
Right.
To me, that's what that joke means. So I was like, I've got to have that because I love that joke. What's the other one? Oh, okay, so I'm a big Bill Murray fan, right. And in my mind, the greatest Bill Murray movie of all time is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Okay.
That is like, platinum Bill Murray, and everything else is silver to me because it's so good.
Right.
And so I have that one too. And basically he's holding the ship, and it's great. I was like, I have to have that one. So. But
you have a limited collection, but every one of those has is important to you in some way.
Yeah.
So I guess that there's a couple ways that people collect. We have a friend that collects everything.
It doesn't matter what it is. Terrence will collect
anything. Yeah, Terrence will get whatever, and Terrence, he can get whatever. And then there are others that don't. Now, I'm a vintage Masters Universe completist. I want to get them all if I can, and some of them are.
And I just kind of
some of them are
random things that mean something.
But I like the 6 and 7 inch figure size, like Black Series and stuff. But I'm kind of like you. I've only got a few, but they all mean something to me. And so there's a couple things there, and I think anybody that is either of those type of collectors can come here and find something, and because you can go through this whole wall and go, oh, that pop. Or that figure means something to me because it makes me think about something that's special.
I was going to ask him what his favorite pop was, but seeing how he's got,
well, other than
himself,
other than yourself.
Like, what's your out of everything that you've seen so far? What's your favorite pop?
I don't know. I mean, I think what my favorite pop basically is, it probably changes on an hourly and daily basis. Just because we have different people who come in here, and if they have like a really strong reaction, or it hits them like emotionally, then that's my favorite pop. Because we were able to procure something that brought somebody the greatest emotion possible, and that's really the whole point of what we do here. So that would be like oh my gosh, like literally we had this girl, and she. The little sodas, you can find a chase in 1 out of 6. Okay. And she went absolutely nuts with excitement because this is the one chase that she had to have, and that was the first one she got. And she was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, so that was like my favorite pop for like 2 weeks because I was just telling people, I'm like, man, I could not believe she was so excited. The odds are 1 in 6, and she was like, I can only buy one, Work's been real slow this week, so I got to try to save, and that was the one she pulled. I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. But, making the experiences along with, the pops and, us trying to find, like we have regulars, and they're like, I'm looking for only the women of Star Wars. So when I get a new one I haven't seen in a while, I'm like, hey, we got this one. Did you get this one? And they're like, oh my God, thank you. That's what becomes my favorite.
Well, that's an interpersonal thing. Yeah. That's more than just the business. I remember a comic shop that'll go unnamed that I went to as a kid, and I'm sure you probably went there too, Wes. That was an informal experience. I went there to pick up items that I wanted. I never felt at home. I never felt like the guy that worked there really knew anything or gave a crap.
Well, he was more that business. Buy.
Right. Yeah. But this place is not that way, and it's the same with a lot of businesses around here. It just, I mean, the people that have the same kind of mindset that you do, it feels more at home than it does before.
Well, I mean, something I was I know me and you have talked about this before, like the other shop, but like, I know you're the largest, to our knowledge, the largest in the Southeast.
He absolutely is the largest. We're going to go with that. We've declared that.
Well, we spent a lot of time researching it, and like, I mean, even all the big Funko groups, they're like, you know, the biggest one is this one in Atlanta, and I was like, well, when we just surpassed
We beat
them,
Atlanta.
and when the guys from Atlanta who I'm friends with are like, yeah, you guys have more than we do, congratulations, and that kind of tells me that, you know.
What I was going to ask you, Mike, was, I know we've talked about this before, but where's the furthest someone's traveled
Holy cow.
to come down and buy a pop? Because there's one story I was thinking about in particular that we had talked about.
My favorite story is we had a guy from California convince his mother-in-law to change her vacation to Gatlinburg from Branson, Missouri, just to come to our little old store.
Wow.
First of all, I'm like, wait a minute, people travel from California? Why would you want to go anywhere else? You know, but you know, at the same time, I'm like, okay, so they get here at like 7:30, and we close at 7, and they're like, oh my God, we gotta hurry. And I was like, are you the guy that called me about this? He's like, yeah. I go, you take as much time as you need. And they, you know, I mean, he bought like $400 worth of stuff, and he's like, now we got to figure out how to get this home. I'm like, well, when do you guys go home? And he's like, oh, we're leaving, you know, Friday. I go, I'll mail it to you Thursday. You should have it. You should be home before he gets there. And you know, he was like, he still orders stuff, big orders from us.
Now, if I remember, is that the guy that had like 4,000, 5,000
I can't
pop?
remember.
You were telling me about that. He
no,
was,
so
or was it a different one?
That's a different one. So here in Knoxville, we actually have the guys getting ready. He's already submitted all of his paperwork. He has 7,095 pops. So we're about to have the Guinness Book of World Record right here in Knoxville. So if you're wondering about the collectability of things in Knoxville, I mean, holy cow, we have this store, plus we have the, you know, soon-to-be world record holder. I mean, there's a lot of collectability here in Knoxville. So
once again, you heard it here first, folks.
But so what's Pop-wise or Funko Pop-wise right now? What's the biggest seller for you? What's the most popular thing you just can't keep in?
In this store, everything is selling.
Another good problem to have.
You'll have like in the old store, Game of Thrones and Walking Dead kind of got cold, especially after that season finale.
Yeah.
Here they're, you know, alive again. I mean, obviously Mandalorian stuff is selling well. I mean, but movie stuff is selling well. You know, by moving to this store, we're getting like also a different demographic that comes in. We have a real large increase in like females 18 to 30 coming in, and I'm like, whoa. I mean, I think I'm ordering stuff for you guys, but you weren't the first person I was thinking of. So what are you looking for that I haven't ordered? And I've had conversations with them, and they're like, we're finding everything we want. But that's the thing. It's like, you know, like everything is selling in this one. Even though, you know, whenever there's like a good, you know, Marvel movie that comes out, they're all go nuts. So right now, it's probably Star Wars is probably the hottest thing right now. It's everything Star Wars is selling. I mean, I just found out today we ran out of Darth Vader's for the first time ever.
Wow.
There's not a single Darth Vader in the store as far as a pop right now. I'm like, holy cow. So yeah, the Star Wars wall will probably be empty by Monday.
So where are you wanting to go? I mean, you obviously, I know that may be a tough question because you made a gigantic move in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Where are we going? Where do you think you're going here?
It's a good question. I mean, we're like diversifying a lot. Like the old store, we're opening a t-shirt factory in it, basically.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the guy who designs our t-shirts is expanding his business, and I partnered with him to, you know, help him get like two years ahead, you know, faster. I mean, we got, you know, a bunch of different, you know, irons in the fire. You know, we've made, since we're right here, and, you know, since there have been some conventions that were in Knoxville and have left, we're looking to fill that void too. So we'll have, you know, like a smaller show on the other side of the park, which will be fun. You know, we're occasionally, you know, we'll go to a different city to pick up a collection or whatever, and I'm like, you know, I could probably put a shop over there.
There you go.
But that's the thing. This store pulls from like a 5-hour radius. The old store pulled from a 5-hour radius. We'd have so many people in from Nashville that I don't even remember they're from Nashville because they're in every weekend.
That's amazing.
Same thing from Atlanta and so forth. And so I think that's just going to get bigger with this. So I mean, really, if you're like, oh, you're gonna open a second location, I'm like, what, like Charlotte or Indianapolis is outside of that, and I don't really go to those cities a lot, so.
Largest in the Southeast, soon to be largest in the country.
There we go.
Let's get this one up, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, just basically, continuing to add value to the community is where I'm wanting to go. But I think in March we're getting a billboard on 40, so that'll help every single store in town, because people that are just driving, Knoxville's a good drive through Knoxville, interstate situation. But now we'll have more people stopping. And the Knoxville Tourist, Bureau has been like, holy cow, this store is the best thing to happen to Knoxville since, all year. And I'm like, surely not. And they're like, oh no, it is. And I'm like, so I mean, that's going to help increase tourism. It's going to help, increase stuff. I'm working on a pamphlet that'll have all the other stores on it at the register. We just hand out if people are looking for more stores. So, that's, where we're going is onward, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
no.
That's awesome.
That's perfect. I mean, again,
but it comes back to that whole community aspect of
Yeah.
the business that you're big about is expanding the community and helping out.
Well, I mean, I guess I was, kind of perfectly cast when I became the Kroger community service guy. I did that for like 3 years. That was my special assignment or whatever. And so, but we've still done that. We're the second largest donor of, products to Children's Hospital every year, behind PetSmart, which, if you're going to be behind somebody donating stuff to Children's Hospital, PetSmart's a pretty good company. But, they donate like $50,000 of stuffed animals every year. And, we're close to that, but I'm like, no, they can have it.
Yeah, let's
second.
touch on that a little bit, Mike. Because Children's Hospital is near and dear to me as well. I mean, they really they do amazing things over there, and your store has been aiding them in a project. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, there's a Knoxville group called Pops for Patients, and at first, when we first heard about them, I was like, how is there, this huge, nationwide place right here about Pops? We don't know anything about them. So, we researched them. I was like, everything's, 100% legit. It's all great. Basically, they just take donations from across the country of Pops, child-friendly Pops that kids don't want, and they take them to the hospital. They've got a lot of chapters across the country, so, there's like there's a Peyton Manning Memorial, sorry.
I was about to say, it's like, is there something I don't know?
Everybody in East Tennessee just died when you said that. So.
Sorry, it's Peyton Manning Children's Hospital. Apparently, there's no memorial. But anyway, so and they've got a chapter out there that they'll collect stuff in Indiana and take it to Indianapolis, that kind of thing. So, anyway, we've partnered with them a whole lot. So we're like every day we're a donation hub for that. So I'll have a few boxes down the hallway every week that people have donated, and we'll just send them over to Children's when they do a drop. We've done a lot of like big donation drives for them, and a lot of really big things. I remember, so this mask you were talking about earlier is made by the mom of Evan Ritchie, who he's one of our customers, one of our first customers that he passed away when he was 18 of bone cancer. So every year we try to do something different to remember him and stuff like that. This year's been a little tougher, but we still did, something for him. But she made these masks for us to give out and so forth. So I'm like, it keeps the name going, et cetera. But now last year we did this huge, because he just passed away. So we did this huge donation drive, and I actually got every single comic book store in town to be a donation hub. So you wouldn't have any of that, well, I want to help with that, but I don't like that comic book store, so I'm not doing that.
Right.
So everybody was able to drop them off there. And I think we had like 1,600 Pops that we donated. We built a big display
I remember seeing the
the
picture.
lobby. And I think I'm 6.5 feet tall, and this thing was like 12 feet tall by probably almost 80 feet. I was like, holy cow, this is...
I remember seeing that picture, and I was just like, wow, Mike's really outdone himself.
Oh,
So they actually they take these Funko Pops and present them to the kids that are in the hospital, right?
Yeah. Most of the time we just give them to the volunteer services. And
I mean, I'm saying the hospital
We've
does
actually,
that, right?
I think, helped hand stuff out
Yeah,
because
we've
I
been able to do it
volunteered
too.
it.
I am perfectly, like, perfectly fine with just letting someone else do that because you know, you get in those rooms and you see some of these sad stories. I'm like, I can't be a cheerleader for everything happy if I'm constantly getting hit with that. So I don't know how some of these frontline workers deal with this stuff, but I'm like, holy cow, that's something else. But yeah, I mean, it's like we do that. This year we didn't have we usually do a silent auction every year because we have so many celebrity friends, both between us and them, and they'll just send us 8x10s and signed pops and stuff. We'll do like a silent auction, but we didn't do that this year, so we'll have a big one next year. One of the big things, you can hear this first.
Oh, you heard it first.
So Pops for Patients has kind of partnered with a foundation that Robert Downey Jr. works with. So they have obtained a bunch of Stan Lee autographed pops and a bunch of Robert Downey Jr. ones. So that's amazing.
Wow.
So that'll be good for the next auction. So that's pretty exciting.
That's good.
And I'm excited too because I'm like, oh my gosh, I think Robert Downey Jr. would probably be the guy that walks through the front door that I'd probably just collapse.
So RDJ, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are, come by and make Mike collapse.
Well,
we'd like to see that.
But that's the other thing. We're so close to the interstate, and if he happens to be driving by, I'd be like, wait, Knoxville, isn't that place we know those people?
Yeah.
Google that. Let's go there. Can you imagine?
And he would be the kind of guy that would do that.
He just can't, you know who I am. He just kind of walk around the store.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't know.
They just prop Mike up in the corner. He just,
First time I'd be speechless.
So, the store does a lot of good. You're helping out with that, and that's amazing. That is a great way to give back to the community. And, again, he's the number one. It's the number one store
in Southeast.
That's right. So Mike has done a lot of stuff. Moved over here during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Still succeeding. But is Mike ready? Is he, in fact, ready for the Nerdy Old Men Rapid Fire Question Session?
Dun, dun, dun.
3.
The answer is C. Wes, you can start up and hit it first.
I'll throw you a softball, Mike. Marvel or DC?
Probably Marvel. They have better movies.
Okay. All right. Mike, you're on a 4-hour car ride. The radio does not work and you do not have a cell phone. And you must be riding with a superhero or supervillain. Who's in the car with you?
It doesn't matter. I can talk for that whole 4 hours.
All right,
this
that's
is
fair.
true because Mike and I have probably done that in the store at some point in time.
No, that's fair. Mike is customer service oriented. He wants to make sure the guy riding or the girl riding with him is entertained. There we go.
Okay, well, I was gonna follow this one up with comic books or comic book movies.
I don't have a lot of time, so it is a lot easier to put on a comic book movie in the background than having to read a comic book.
All right.
And I also say at the store, I'm like, we don't love comic books. We love the people who love comic books. And that's why I like charge cover price, and I don't have these crazy prices. And
that's awesome.
There you go.
And coincidentally, I don't read all of them either. So.
All right.
Fair enough.
Captain Kirk or Captain Picard?
Oh, probably Picard because he had more seasons, but I do like some Shatner every once in a while.
There you go. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, you can be in any sci-fi series. What is it?
Any sci-fi series? Man, this is hard. I mean, probably Deep Space Nine. You know?
Hey, Chief O'Brien. I always like Chief O'Brien.
Yeah. Wes just got excited over it.
He's so underrated.
That's right.
But there's so much more you can do on Deep Space Nine than anything else. And you can always just call the Enterprise and they'll come and help you out.
There you go.
You know.
Right. You got to enlist G.I. Joe or Cobra?
I mean, it's pretty much a given. It's G.I. Joe all the way.
There you go. Right.
Me and Shipwreck. Right?
There you go.
Him and Shipwreck. Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
there's a lot of talking going on in that one.
He's my favorite of all time.
There you go.
It's the first G.I. Joe I ever had, and I still have it. So.
Oh, that's amazing.
Awesome. Yep.
Okay, Mike, you get to make an 80s style action movie. What 80s action star are you going to make that movie with?
Oh, man. I don't know. But we'll have the A-Team van, that's for sure.
There you go.
Obviously, yes.
But, good question. It's about the car, not the people.
Oh, man,
we give him the General Lee, the A-Team van, Kit, or Airwolf. What are you taking?
He's taking the A-Team van.
I got to take the A-Team van. There's more ability to have cargo in there. You can drive more people around. So.
And you can haul more pops.
You can.
That's true. I was going to ask you what a personal pop would look like of you, but there's one sitting on the shelf right there that nice girl made for you.
It's
so
very
that's
good. I mean, yeah, and it's. I mean, I was blown away when I.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
My last question for you is if you could create a Funko Pop, if you called up the CEO, which I'm sure you've probably done because you are the #1 retailer in the southeast of it, if you could talk to the person and say, I want you to make this pop, and they go, all right, we got it. What would it be?
I actually pitched the president's line to them, and they were very resistant because they were like, who would buy that? I'm like, history buffs, history teachers, schools. I was like, you can play this blue and red thing against each other and put a little bit of blue on this one, a little red on this one.
I would get a presidential pop.
They all sell pretty well. Let's see. I've been trying to get the Munster mobiles made for a while, which is very odd that they haven't made them because that company was formed by 2 guys who like that Ratfink stuff,
right?
And Barris vehicles, and that is like the most
it's
popular Barris vehicle. So I don't. Well, I think people say the Beverly Hillbillies one is, but I'm like, how is that even?
Yeah.
I mean, Barris made it, but it's not like. I don't know.
Was it Dragula?
Just put a bunch of garbage on a car, and they're like, "Hey, there you go."
Grandpa Munster's hot rod. It was always.
Bring us home, Wes.
Last one I've got, Mike. Does pineapple go on a pizza?
I really don't like pineapple at all.
Well, you can't bite 1,000 in. So.
I mean, it's bad. Like I'll have like a punch or something else that has pineapple in it. I'm like, oh.
he's not the tropical flavor kind of guy.
No pineapple.
Well, we appreciate you letting us come in and talk to you about your store. Can you go ahead and hit us with information on your store, where people can find you, hours, website, all that good stuff?
Well, we're on all the socials that I know about. And so I guess that would be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We've got a little bit of TikTok going on, which is the hardest thing to do because it's only like 15 seconds. I zoom it around the store and you can't see anything, but you know that there's a lot of pops.
Yeah.
Tallmantoys.com is where you can order all your stuff for shipping or in-store pickup. Let's see, our address here is 1060 World's Fair Park Drive. We're Suite 104, but it's pretty easy to find the big comic book store that has the biggest frontage on this building.
That's great.
What else? If you want to email me, it's mike@tallmantoys.com. And I'm apparently very fast at responding to.
He is as Facebook Messenger. He's very quick also.
Well, I don't really think it's. There's no point in letting messages stack up because those people are emailing you. They want answers, so give them answers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Hours of operation.
Yeah. Right now we're 10 to 7 every day. The 24th will be open 7 a.m. to 3. Because we get a lot of overnight people that come in on that, and they were very excited. So then we'll be closed on the 25th. And I think we're going to keep the 10 to 7 going, but we may change it in the future. We don't know.
But you update your Facebook page and all that, so just check that when you're coming down, and come down and visit Mike and his place. And it's very picturesque around here. It's a beautiful area. You can come down here, shop here, walk to the old World's Fair site from the 80s, check out the Sun Sphere when it opens back up, walk downtown, experience a whole lot of the food and the really nice things in downtown Knoxville, right near University of Tennessee campus, which is beautiful. So this is a great destination for you to come, especially if you're from out of town. We're local. If you've never been to the new store, come and check it out.
Largest Funko Pop dealer.
We cannot say that enough.
Southeast. So come by, check out Mike.
Yep. Oh, and I'll just let you in on this. So, a podcast studio we're thinking to make in this building. So you might be sitting in it right now for all I know.
That'd be all right.
This would be the best place.
Future home of the nerdy old men.
Yeah. And then there'll be some comic book men that actually would co-own it. So that'd be cool.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Wow, some big things coming.
I was joking about it last year. And then they called me the other day, and I'm on this conference call, and they're like, "Are you serious about that?" I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Let's talk about it in the new year." So I was like, "Wow, that could be pretty cool."
That's pretty awesome.
Just keep growing and being awesome. That's
pretty awesome.
So,
all right, guys, make sure that you check out the video tour of Tall Man Toys and come down and see him, and make sure you check out all his social medias, and check out our social medias too, and please be sure to. Comment, share, and like, and all that other kind of technical stuff. Yeah, upper right-hand corner of our website, there's buttons that lead you to all of our social medias, so we appreciate that. And again, we're here with Mike, Tall Man Toys. This is Chad, the bald-headed man, with Wes.
Yeehaw.